brand new street and brand new me. Side by friends I need.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to make a new meatloaf recipe. It is stovetop meatloaf. And I'm going to start by, you need to start by preheating your oven to 350. And go ahead and get your pan ready to go under your loaf pan. That way, in case it boils over, you've got something to protect your oven. But the leanest ground beef you have would probably be best, or at least close to lean. Like a ground chuck would probably be best to use than full fat. But most of the time, all I buy is full fat because I'm trying to save as much money as I possibly can. Since I'm going to be using full fat ground beef, I decided instead of doing 1.5 pounds, I'll do 2 pounds because it's going to shrink quite a bit, of course, because a lot of it's fat. So this is 2 pounds worth of ground beef, and I've got a chopped onion we're going to add, and of course I got my gloves on because this is going to get messy. All right. Now, we're going to dump it all in a bowl. That's what we do. I'm not touching any other eggs, just the ones I need. Set that there. You got to have your eggs for your binder. Now, typically, in my meatloaf, I put in oatmeal. It's a low carb option, or a lower carb option than bread, and it just makes it more filling, and I've just used it for years. My kids really don't know much of a difference, so I'm hoping you need to put a box of stovetop stuffing in this as well. I'm hoping that they're not going to complain too much about this, but I wanted to do a couple of recipes with some stovetop. I have some stovetop to get rid of, and I thought it would be nice for us to do a few things with it, so a few different things, so you know that you do have other options if you didn't want to use it for stuffing. And you're going to also need 1/3 cup of milk as well. So I didn't, even though I increased the meat in this, I didn't increase any of the other measurements. So I'm hoping it's gonna it'll be fine. So let me mix this together real quick. It may get a little noisy, and we'll talk in a second. All right, I have a few onions that don't want to cooperate, so I'm gonna just grab those and press them in. And you can also mince your onions. You don't have to, they don't have to be diced. I know a lot of people don't like the texture, but they want the flavor. So here's my big old pile of ground beef. All right. Now, here's my loaf pan. Make sure y'all can see. Okay. And this is quite large. And you can also put it on a lined baking sheet. A lot of people do that. I've done it before when I didn't have enough. I would make like 2 meatloaves at a time, and I didn't have enough loaf pans to do them both at the same time in the oven. So I would just put my extra one on that. But that's it. This didn't have any ketchup that went in it. It will have a ketchup glaze that goes on top, which is still a little bit different than how I make mine, because I put ketchup in it and on top. But we're going to set this aside, and I'm going to make that glaze real quick, and that way you can see what that's about. Okay, so I'm going to use the bowl that the stuffing was in. And we'll grab a spoon real quick. So for the glaze, you just need 2 ingredients: white vinegar and 3/4 cup of ketchup. So I'm gonna just eyeball this. 3/4 is about that much, which is really too much actually. A little bit too much, but it'll be okay. And if I can get this open, okay, and you just need a tablespoon of white vinegar. And it's alright if you add just a little bit extra ketchup. It's not going to hurt anything. I don't see where it would be a problem. So, I did a little bit too much possibly, but I did about a cup's worth. Okay, I'm supposed to go a little under. Okay, so I guess what, you know, by adding the vinegar, because I don't do that typically, you make it more tangy like a barbecue sauce. But that's it, y'all. So you need to bake this for bake it at 350 degrees for about 50 minutes or until the middle is done completely. And you're going to let it rest for a few minutes, but once you cook it for about the 40-minute mark, you're going to take it out. You're going to put the glaze on, put it back in for 10 minutes, take it back out after 10 minutes, and then let it rest for 10 minutes. Does that make sense? So it's going to have a total cooking time of 50 minutes. But you got to make sure you get the glaze on, and you kind of want the glaze to kind of bake onto it. So I will see you back here when it's finished. Okay, y'all, so this is finished product. I was able to cut through it and remove it from the loaf pan pretty easily. You will have some, if you do not use lean beef, you will have some grease in the bottom of your pan, so it would probably be best for you to let it rest for a few minutes and then take it out slice by slice, preferably, and put it on a plate to finish resting because you don't want it to sit in that. But that was pretty simple. It cut clean through, so I didn't have any problems with it falling apart. So I'm pretty happy with it so far. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do another stovetop dressing recipe, or a recipe that will include stovetop stuffing. That way you can find other alternatives besides stuffing to use it for. Today's recipe is called chicken bruschetta bake, and it's a real simple, easy casserole. And the first thing that you're going to need to do is go ahead and preheat your oven to 400 degrees. And we're going to go ahead and get this combined, and it's really, really quick and simple. It just took me a few minutes to prep everything. So let's go ahead and get started. So you're going to need stuffing mix, which is roughly, I think it's like a 6-ounce, 7-ounce box, something like that. You're gonna add that in. You're gonna need a 1/2 cup of water or broth, a can of diced tomatoes with the juice, and you can put minced garlic in, or we can do some garlic powder. Let's see, it's gonna be a generous portion. All right. So I'm gonna mix all that together until the stuffing mix is moist. So let it sit here for a second, moisten up a little bit. You need to go ahead and have you a 9x13 pan ready. I've already got me one ready, and it is sprayed. Okay. Trying to make sure this is good and combined. Okay. Now, the first thing that you're going to do is put your chicken breasts that are chopped into bite-sized pieces in the bottom of your pan. And I got some really thin sliced chicken breast. This is about 2 pounds, a little under, from Aldi. And I chopped them up. It was really simple. So they're a little bit stringy, but it's fine. All right, you're gonna put this in the bottom of the pan. Okay. Wash my hands real quick. Okay, so we're going to take about a teaspoon of dried basil. I'm going to sprinkle it here. Not too crazy. And then you're going to need about a cup of mozzarella. So we're going to put that on here next. And this is, you know, kind of layered. Maybe add a little extra. Shh, don't tell nobody. And then you're going to top it with your stuffing mixture. And that's it. We will bake this 400 degrees for about 30 minutes or until the chicken is done. And it's going to be delicious. It's real easy, real simple. And it gives us another way to use stovetop. Okay. 400 degrees, 30 minutes, or until the chicken is done. And if it looks like it's getting a little too brown for me, I'm going to cover it with foil. So you need to keep that in mind. Just kind of check on it from time to time. And I'll see you back here when it's done. Hey y'all, this is the finished product. It didn't take long at all. A real quick 30 minutes in the oven and it was done. I did have to put some foil over the top of it at one point because it was starting to try to get a little bit more toastier than I wanted it to. But overall, it's going to be good, full flavor, and on a budget. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see y'all next time.
Don't you give me that look, take